fairly valuable tool to get images, to get pictures, which you can freely use for blogging, but for all other kinds of activities as well, for designing posters or what you can think of, basically. This is another interesting example now out of the world of music. I don't know if anybody has seen this movie. I think it's about 1.5 years or something that it was out in the thing. I really didn't like the movie, but that doesn't really matter. So I saw it somewhere on vacation, and then I came back and had an email. Wow, this is the best movie from the Creative Commons perspective. And why was this? Because actually, like the producers of this movie used this sample, which is from a project which is called the Free Sound Project, which is at the US University, and they collect all kinds of samples, like little samples, in this case like a male loud scream, which are all Creative Commons licensed. And the producers of this movie actually like found this thing, used it in the movie, and then because it is licensed under a license which requires attribution, without ever having been in contact with this person, just put like, and this is the title screen, like the title roll at the end of the thing, the attribution for this male loud scream into the title roll. So this kind of like almost perfectly illustrates how Creative Commons is intended to basically take the friction out of the system. You apply a license to something that you want to use, you put a reasonable condition on it, in this case attribution. Somebody can just go there and give you attribution, and that might end you up being in a cinema and suddenly seeing your own name passing by in the title role of a major Hollywood production. Now this doesn't happen every day, but it kind of like fairly well illustrates how it's intended to work and how it ideally works, and that people also like, because things like attribution are like really reasonable requirements, they will fulfill them. Actually, like people are not like, they are not intended to be cheap and like just take it and then run with it. But as long as you're reasonable, people will probably like even fulfill your conditions or your requirements, even if they don't really need to. Because let's be honest, like they would have, probably the author of this sample, like a male loud scream, would have never recognized his particular sample in this movie, so they could have just kept him out, but they don't. This is maybe also not such a good example. Maybe this should be my last example. Does anybody know who this is? What?
Adam Curry.
Yeah. So and Adam Curry is like a famous radio DJ here, or he used to be a famous radio DJ, worked for MTV. He kind of like claims for himself to have invented podcasting. So he's some kind of Dutch celebrity in any case. And as many other people, he has a Flickr. He has a Flickr account, and he publishes his own pictures there under a Creative Commons license. You can see here like the little CC button, some rights reserved. To click on it, you get to the license. Now here's another picture, which this is his wife and his daughter, which was also published on his Flickr page. And now the interesting thing happens is a Dutch tabloid, Weekend, comes in and says like, well, this is very useful for us, that these celebrities nowadays publish their own pictures on the internet. We don't have to send photographers after them and pay for those photographers. We just take their material from the internet and use it in our stories about like their private lives, which this story was, and it was kind of not a fairly positive story about Curry's private life. So Curry got a little bit pissed about that and sued them on the grounds of that they actually didn't follow the Creative Commons license, and he argued that picture was licensed under a Creative Commons attribution non-commercial license, and of course using pictures in a commercial publication constitutes commercial use. Therefore, they are violating the license, and they should pay him damages to the extent of, I think he asked for 15,000 euros for this. Now, this was the first court case ever involving a Creative Commons license, which took place here in Amsterdam. So the judge, so it comes to the court case, and actually for us, because we always get asked, okay, do these licenses actually work in court? Do they really provide the security you claim they are providing? So the court actually went there, read through the license, came to this non-commercial provision, and said, like, obviously, like, the publishing of a material can be considered a commercial activity. This is expressively not licensed by the license. Therefore, the publisher of this document, of this tabloid paper, infringes on Curry's copyright and will be ordered to pay him 1,000 euros in damages. So it's fairly low amount of damages, but at least like, and they had to also publish an apology for that, like in the next edition. So that kind of like shows that in two ways. On the one hand side, it shows again how that the Creative Commons licenses work. On the other hand, it also shows like how much easier, and that kind of like comes back to my initial statement, how much easier and how much more multi-layered like actually access to material is. In this reality where we are operating all in, you don't need access to like a stock image company anymore to get stuff into your magazine. Or you technically don't need to send photographers out there to take a picture of what you want to write about. Because basically we have access to this distributed archive the internet provides us, and in some cases copyright law may be way too restrictive to actually allow us to make best use of the possibilities this technological infrastructure gives us. And so Creative Commons tries to step in there and provide some middle ground where you have protection against abuses like this, but on the other hand, you enable others to actually distribute and work with your imagery or work with your text or work with your sound recording in ways which are covered in terms of the legal rights involved. I think that's my last slide as well.
Okay, thank you. I think it was a very good presentation.